Well, g'day there again, and welcome back to Welcome to Consciousness. And this is episode number 6, and we're talking about cultivating balance. And I really hope you're enjoying the series so far, and I'm looking forward to bringing on some guests over the next couple of months to share their wisdom and knowledge about consciousness. But one of the things I've learned is that one of the fundamental qualities of consciousness is balance. The more conscious we become, the more we experience consciousness, the more we let go, the more we're in our awareness, the present moment, connected to ourselves, connected to the world, to the universe around us, the more we connect to balance. And that starts to expose some of the imbalances, and that's where we start to live and create with more consciousness or with more balance in our lives. So when I burnt out, I went to the doctor and I saw a psychologist as well, and they both recommended I go on a medication to help the chemical imbalance that I was experiencing. And I said to them both, well, why am I experiencing a chemical imbalance? And the answer they basically gave me was because you've had stress. And I never really felt like I got a full answer. Like I had gone from, say, 10 years prior to or even 5 years prior to that, having so much energy, feeling invincible, like I could do anything, like I didn't even need sleep, which was part of the problem because I had some unhealthy lifestyle habits. And I now was in this place where I could hardly get up in the morning. I struggled to interact with anyone. Everything was a huge effort. I had to stop doing all the things I enjoyed and cut off from so many relationships just really to survive. And I wanted to know really what was the cause of that. Why had I got to this place? And this answer of saying, well, you've got a chemical imbalance, it just didn't feel complete enough. It seemed to be lacking something. I was like, where did the chemical imbalance come from? And they'd say, well, look at your family and it's genetics and biology and things like that. And then you've had stress and all those things are aspects to it. But what I've learned now after many years is that chemical imbalance, for example, in mental illness is not a cause of symptoms, but the chemical imbalance is a symptom of a greater, much deeper imbalance that we experience. So it's not the cause of a sickness or a disease. The chemical imbalance is just a flow-on effect because our lives, our minds, our bodies, our emotions, our spirits are deeply imbalanced, eventually adds up to symptoms that we experience in our mind, emotions, body that are making us sick, disease, illnesses, dysfunctions, all these different things that are making us sick in our lives. If you think about an ecosystem that is healthy and that is vibrant and that is flourishing, it's an ecosystem that's in balance and has a healthy balance of plants and animals and microorganisms, and there's nutrients or nutrition, there's an energy source like the sun, there's water, there's healthy soil, and that ecosystem becomes resilient, it becomes strong. And so I've called this cultivating balance because I love the idea of cultivating something. Like when you think about cultivating a vegetable garden, well, then you're creating the environment for that garden to thrive and to be healthy. And at the same time, we're removing the things that may be toxic or unhealthy or that are counterproductive in that garden growing and being healthy, pulling out the weeds, getting rid of the bugs and the pests, or setting up boundaries so that it doesn't get walked over and trampled on by animals or other people. And we can relate to this so much in our own lives. Cultivating balance in our lives requires us to take responsibility for our inner and outer lives and create balance around us, create healthy conditions, create the kind of environment for us to thrive. Now, we understand this on a physical level better, but when we start to apply this into our minds and our subconscious minds and the way we think and the thought patterns and beliefs that we have, when we apply this into our emotions and the way that we feel and allow ourselves to feel and to connect with life and process emotions and release trapped emotions, when we apply it to our spirit and have that balance of being in presence, of connecting with nature or with ourselves, our souls on a deeper level, or with each other on a much more broader level, with the world at large, when we expand our self-awareness so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes, or we don't get lost in the illusion of life thinking that we are just our thoughts or we are just our beliefs. We can create balance in these things. And then it requires us to look at, well, what's hurting us? What's making us unhealthy? What in my environment on the outside or on the inside is actually toxic and is taking away my energy and affecting my health and my vibrance and my ability to thrive and grow? So the point is really this: if we can create balance around our lives, if we can create an environment outwardly and inwardly that cultivates balance, then that balance will flow on and we'll integrate and we'll embody more of that balance, and we'll experience more health, more well-being, more joy, more connection, more love, and we'll be more connected to our souls, to our purpose. Life will feel like it is worth it, that we have worth, that we have meaning, that we can look forward to living life because we're not trapped in this toxic way of living. Culture and society, especially in the West, has become quite toxic. It's very out of balance. Even the way, for example, the health system approaches so many things in health, it's out of balance because it's not really taking into account deep emotional needs that we have, and it's not really taking into account deep spiritual needs, which allows us to be free of the mind, free of so many of our past hurts and wounds and beliefs, and allow us to move forward and thrive. And when we experience the peace that we can get from letting go of things in our mind, for example, then we can experience more of the love. Then that experience starts to flow over and have a flow-on effect into our mind, body, our spirit, and our soul connection as well. So when you think about it, the entire universe is in perfect balance. When you zoom out and just look at all the planets and all the stars and all the galaxies and how huge it is and how it just continues to go, it's all in this perfect balance. Now, Earth has become kind of toxic in the way that we've treated it and the way we've got stuck in our minds, but that's a process of evolution in the bigger picture. And then if you zoom in on the universe, or even into our own bodies, we learn just of the incredible balance that is created at such a microscopic level, at a quantum level. And so one of the fundamental laws of the universe, of consciousness, of then us aligning with consciousness, is balance. And this is where the teachings of yin and yang, of masculine and feminine, are really helpful to start to grasp. And it's something that I've just continued to go deeper and deeper into over the past 12 months to really balance the masculine and the feminine energies. Now, these aren't genders, they're the energy that make us who we are, how we live and experience our life, how we interact. It's the way we work, it's the way we relate, it's the way we eat, it's the way we live, it's the way we rest, it's the way we do everything. And it's like these two opposing energies that create perfect balance when they're in balance. For example, we create balance when we balance out giving and receiving, when we balance working and resting, when we balance out being strong and assertive and being soft and flowing, when we balance out structure and flow, when we balance out courage and vulnerability. And what I've learned is that these things are so much more than a concept or a belief that you can have, that you can balance them. But it's so much more an energy that we cultivate, that we create around our lives that then gets integrated and we can embody it into our physical bodies, into our mind, our mental bodies, the way we think, how much we think, the things we consume, and create balance in our mind. We integrate it into our emotions. It's how we feel our emotions, experience our emotions, how we connect with other people's emotions. And then spiritually as well, we integrate this balance spiritually as we connect with our spiritual self, our conscious self, where we expand our awareness. We become more free. We become more in the present moment. We feel more connected to ourself, to our hearts, to our intuitions, to our higher self, to our soul. We feel more connected to the universe or to the world around us or to others, because we start to experience the fact that on a quantum level or on a conscious level, that we are all part of this one energy field which is manifested into different forms. So now I want to turn this over to you and ask you, where can you cultivate more balance in your life? Where can you take your power back? If you're experiencing some kind of sickness, a lot of stress, an illness, a disease, a dysfunction of some kind in your mind, body, emotions, or your spirit, then where can you start to create some more balance at a more foundational level in who you are, in your lifestyle, in the way that you live, in the way that you think, in the way that you be, the way that you are? Where can you start to take responsibility for your decisions, for the way that you eat, for the way that you move your body, for the way that you sleep? Where can you create more balance in relationships? Where can you engage more with healthy relationships? Where can you draw a boundary on a toxic or a draining relationship? How can you create more balance in your work life? How can you approach work in a more healthier, life-giving, enjoyable way? Or where can you draw a boundary in your work life and say, here's enough, this is when I stop working, or these are my limits, or these are my needs and that's what I need? How can you create more balance, cultivate balance in your inner world, in the way you think, how much you think? How can you strengthen your spirit and create more awareness and have more self-awareness around the way that you think? How can you create more balance in how much you think and begin to let go of certain thoughts, or let go of past wounds or past trapped emotions, or start to work through the traumas that have been suppressed within you and start to let those things go, because they're all trapped energy that is feeding and this imbalance, because it's crying out for attention. It's crying out for you to notice it and to do something about it and to liberate it, or to just witness it, or to feel it. How can you connect more with your inner guidance, your intuition, and start to trust and follow your inner voice rather than being out of balance and only just listening to external voices, external opinions, culture, belief systems that have been given to you, and start to create your life from within, from your own truth, from your soul? And I want to leave you with saying this: when it comes to cultivating balance, it really helps to create routines and habits that really serve you and your health and your journey, your well-being right now, which means it can change, it can be fluid, it doesn't have to look like anything else. Some people claim if you do this diet or this exercise program, it's going to give you health and well-being and energy, but that in itself can become out of balance if it's taken to the extreme. And a lot of diets and exercise plans are, because they're not in balance with rest and flow, or your emotional needs, or your trauma that you haven't been processing, or they're not in balance with actually letting go and not having to control everything and not trying to have to understand everything, because you can bring more spirit, more presence into your life. So start to think about, how can I create just a few simple routines each day, that things that I do that cultivate balance. And then where can I take some time in my day or my week to self-assess and to use my self-awareness to look at, well, what adjustments do I want to make and create more of an external and an internal environment that's going to cultivate balance, which is going to, in the end, result in increased health, increased energy, increased well-being. It's going to allow you to connect to yourself, to your soul, to your true purpose, to who you are, to a sense of freedom and you being all that you want to be, not limited by anything of your past or by society or by family or belief systems or culture, but being everything that you know in your heart that you are and that you want to be. And balance is such an important key, because when we're balanced, our mind, our bodies, our emotions, and our spirits are all working for us. They're all working in a healthy, positive way. It's life-giving. So there we have it. I hope that this really helps you. I hope that there's something that you can take into your life that you can apply, because it's been such a big lesson for myself. It's one that I continue to learn. And I realized that expanding and increasing my own consciousness actually goes hand in hand with cultivating more balance. The more conscious I become, the more balanced I become. The more conscious I become, the more I see the wounds, the more I see the shadows, the more I see the darkness, the more I see the imbalances, the dysfunctions, the things that have hurt me, the things that have held me back. And then I get to counteract them and create balance and work through them. And sometimes that's just letting those things go and being free and being in the moment. And sometimes it's taking action and it's actually doing something and shifting a lifestyle, or it's communicating something in a relationship, or it's creating a boundary, or it's setting an intention and a goal that you're actually going to take some action towards. It's all about a balance of all these things. And it's an incredible journey. I think the place of balance is a really beautiful thing. If you can create perfect balance in your life, you're going to experience beauty and bliss and joy and love on such another level that you never would. For me, last week we talked about freeing emotional shadows, and being able to connect with emotions and receive love and receive bliss has been such a big part of creating balance. And so sometimes we hit these shadows and we realize, I've never really taken care of myself in this way. I've never really felt my emotions. I've never really valued myself, or I've never forgiven myself or forgiven somebody else. And so we're holding on to all this baggage, and it's creating imbalance, and then it's creating more imbalance, and then we're getting sick and we're getting tired and we're exhausted and we're getting diseases, and there's things that are flowing out from that because we've got imbalance. And the last thing I want to say as I finish is be careful to be compassionate and loving towards yourself. As you look at this, you could be hard on yourself. Oh, why do I do this? Why do I have to be like this? And it's so important to have compassion and empathy for your own journey. You only knew what you knew when you made past decisions, but now you're coming into a greater awareness, and you can make a better decision going forward, a healthier one that's in more balance, and you can start taking responsibility for your life from now. And balance takes time. It's not going to happen in a day or two. It's not going to even happen in a month. It's going to happen over the years as you cultivate balance, and then you will live a balanced life and enjoy the benefits of a balanced life aligned with more consciousness. And so I'm going to leave you with that, and I hope you enjoy that. Take it into your week. Reach out if you have any questions. And I would love to be able to support you in your journey of cultivating balance and of experiencing more consciousness and conscious living, conscious creating, conscious relationships, conscious everything, and be everything that you know you are and want to be in your heart. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. So there we have it. Thanks for joining me on Welcome to Consciousness. My name's Michael Reid. and I'm here to help you consciously live and create your life. If you enjoyed this, please click subscribe and follow. There's a lot more to come. Also, if you could rate or review it, this would really help others find this show. Also, if you want to share this with a friend or on your social media, please go for it. And if you have any questions about your journey, please reach out. I'll answer them directly or on the podcast. And lastly, if you want personal help consciously living and creating your life, I've created a coaching program that helps you do just that. You can head to my website for more info. So thanks again. Have a fantastic day. Look forward to seeing you next time.